Good morning, everybody. I'm just coming on real quick. It's Sunday morning. It's beautiful morning here, and I'm super excited. So I had to come on and make a video for you guys today, because, like I said yesterday, confidence is trusting ourselves and our own abilities, right? So today I started digging into what is trust and truth, and really found some cool stuff that I'm going to share and will definitely build upon. So the definition of trust is it's actually a noun and a verb, and there's a lot of definitions. So I picked one, and I'll post all the others in my stories. So the definition I want to focus on most today is trust means believe in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of. So this is, again, something that's in your head, right? It's a belief. So it's not really tangible. We can't hold it in our hands. We can't buy it at the store. So this is going to be about mindset too. Other definitions, and this is where things start to get really cool, is to place confidence. So like trust in God was an example. To be confident, to place confidence in, to rely on. So here we've just tied back trust to confidence. And yesterday in our definition of confidence, trust and truth was mentioned like 4 or 5 times. So now we have confidence in the definitions, plus, get this is where it gets like really cool, and I know we're on the right path here with what we've been talking about, is synonyms for trust is confidence and faith. How about that? Because if you watched any of them last week, you know I was talking about faith over fear, confidence, and now we're into truth, and here are all these same words again. So this is like super cool. And when I think about trust in this aspect of trusting ourselves, then I thought of that sort of catchphrase that I hear all the time, living your truth. I'm like, what the heck does that mean, really? Like, I sort of get it. I definitely get living your best life. Like, I've practiced and I understand sort of how to live in my best life. But living your truth, I haven't ever really thought about my truth. Is it something like my purpose I'm supposed to have, or my story, or whatever? So I started doing some research because we're in like foreign territory for me right now. But it's really cool. So to live in your truth means to live as your most authentic self, doing things daily that bring you happiness and joy, living as true to yourself as possible. So again, like, how cool, because my purpose is to live a joy-filled life and help others bring more joy into all aspects of their lives. Like, this is what I'm about. And here it says, when you're living in your truth, you're doing things daily that bring you happiness and joy. Like, okay, we've talked a lot about these things already. So each of us, if you've watched the last couple of my videos, should really be starting to think about what it means to us to be living in our truth. And why is it important? So the internet says it's important because you're not dependent on others to feel good about yourself. And I find that refreshing because we've also been talking about letting the weight of other people's opinions go and not being afraid to speak our dreams and goals into existence. So how do we live in our truth, and why is it important? It's really about accepting reality. We want to give up the fictional version of ourselves, or the version of ourselves that thinks I'm what I should be versus I'm what I want to be. And we fall into that pattern of comfort because we're sort of structured this life around what we think in our minds we should be. And that's where I got guilty of getting comfortable, and I've described it as sort of being in this cocoon, that once I accepted my reality and realized I wanted a lot more out of my life than where I was at, I was able to sort of break free. But I had to accept the reality that I had created, and I had to own what parts of it were making me unhappy, or areas that I was failing myself in or failing others in. Like, I really had to do hard work and accept the truth of the situation. And then I was able to, and this is so cool, because living in your truth then opens you up to feel more confident to make your dreams and your goals a reality. So this is so important and so cool that by living in our truth, we're tying all this other stuff up together into something that we can put action behind. So how do we live in our truth and trust ourselves to do so? So again, I'm going to tell you what the internet says, because I like it and I agree with it. I'm not going to go through all 12 steps to living in your truth because it's a lot, so I might break this up. But the first couple of things that we need to do, first of all, it all begins with your mindset. Again, because it's a belief in yourself, trusting in yourself. So number one, you have to accept yourself. You have to stop being critical of all the negative areas, and you need to beef up all the positive areas and own it. Like, own yourself. And don't beat yourself up about it, but just then start to make your goals around what changes you want to see. And acknowledge your reality. Like, accept your current situation, understand it, and then choose your dreams and your goals based on the improvements that you want to see. Like, I didn't just start out a year ago with 25 goals. That would have been too much and self-defeating completely. I broke it down into very small pieces, and I sort of prioritized my goals in order of what would make me the most happy. So I chose to start with my health first, and now I'm moving on to other goals and dreams. But I broke getting my health in order way down into small goals. Like, I didn't set out to lose 75 pounds. I set out to lose 5 pounds. I set out to not weigh over 200 pounds. I set out to, start being more active and do more higher intensity workouts versus just yoga, which is what I started with because I was so out of shape. But baby goals. But when we're living in our truth, we don't feel bad about the past. It's what's gotten us to the present, and what will carry us into the future. And we're not defined by it. So if you're living in your truth, you're not letting your past define you either. You have forward vision versus backward vision. And forward vision helps get us moving in the right direction. And when you deal with the bad, so the next one is practice radical honesty with yourself. And this is about dealing with the bad parts of you. I don't like the word bad right there. Maybe not so great, because I think we all need to embrace our flaws or what we perceive as our flaws, because there's a difference there. We need to embrace the parts of us that we want to be better in. And when you open yourself up to that, you allow more space for goodness to come in as you get rid of the negative or the not so great and turn it into great, you have so much more joy and happiness in your life. So, and then identify and own your part in it. Like, what success have you had and what failures have you had? And what did you do? What was your role in that result? And I like this because I think this comes into self-sabotage, which I think we are very, very guilty of. I know I am. I mean, even in my health and fitness, I mean, I can sit down and eat a whole pizza. I can totally do that. And I know I shouldn't. And I know I've worked hard and, you know, all those things. But to this day, I can sit down and eat a whole pizza, man. And that would be self-sabotaging my goals and all my hard work that I've put in so far. So let's hope that doesn't happen, right? Because I'm focused on my goals and I have my purpose. And then the next is admit your mistakes and looking at your failures. And we know from this past week, I have a tremendous fear of failure. It says again, looking at failure as a learning opportunity. And then the last one, and this is so cool, like, because it's cool. When I tell you, you're going to think it's cool too. The last bullet point I want to talk about today on living in your truth, it says, don't let fear get in your way. How about that? Because we've been talking about fear all week too. You must be willing to do things in the unique way you think is best. So you need to trust your judgment and trust your heart, and don't be afraid of what other people think, or don't be afraid of what the outcome is going to be. Because when you're living in your truth, you're trusting yourself and you're creating the right reality for you. And you need to be willing to let the wrong reality go. Because some of us are living in the totally wrong reality. And we're not thriving. We're not happy. We're not joy-filled. Because we're not in the right space. And like, we got to change our minds so we can change our lives. And this takes practice. Because we've got to build our confidence and our self-worth as we go. We've got to be living as our most authentic selves. So we have to identify like what that means. Figure out what I can do on a daily basis to bring me joy. Like literally over the last couple of weeks, I've found myself like when I'm really stressed out thinking, do I feel full of joy right now? And if the answer is no, then I have started thinking about, okay, what can I do to make me feel happy right now? Because I want to practice that versus sitting in my anxiety or sitting in my stress or sitting in my fear. Like, I want to know that I'm bravely living in faith and trust and confidence. That is the goal. So I think that all of this is just super awesome. I'm just looking to make sure I haven't missed anything, and I don't think I have. So we'll probably stay on this conversation. I don't know. I'll keep you posted, but I would love to hear what is getting in your way of living your truth. Are you living your truth? Have you ever even thought about it? Because up until recently, I really haven't thought about these things. But it's fun to see how they all tie in together. So have a great Sunday. Can't wait to hear your thoughts.